It's not clickbait. Well, it is, but it's also true. Seriously, listen to this. I'm going to play you a clip in a second from a scout who scouted, an ex-West Ham scout, who's dropped a bombshell. Well, I say a bombshell, sort of in the title. So, this is the important thing. We have got an exclusive interview on Hammers Chat with an ex-West Ham scout today. Somebody that scouted for the club under Sam Allardyce. This is bombshell stuff. The interview is up tonight. Gio is interviewing him. It's up tonight on the main channel. Whatever you do, tune in. You don't want to miss it. Here's a snippet right now. Listen to this.
As a scout, do you get more excited by trying to judge the potential of a younger player and say, this guy's going to make it, this guy's going to go out? Because like you said, safe, isn't it? But surely a scout's sort of pedigree is picking out the players that are rough diamonds, that's cheap, and getting them in, and you're like, wow, I've turned a £1 million player into a £20 million player.
It's Newcastle. Everyone said French League, so okay, fine, let's together. And we picked up loads of players, and we did mention a few of them to West Ham that never really got picked up on, and was Mr. Gonzo was one of them. And Mr. Benrahma was another one who was found.
So hang on a minute. You recommended Said Benrahma to West Ham a few years ago when he was in France.
When he was for 1.5 million. So the club could have saved £48.5 million basically. So yeah. So Benrahma was there's an army of young lads that went.
You saw Gio's reaction, right? That was that was really quite something. So we missed out on Benrahma for 1.5 million. Oh, that has got to sting. I mean, it really has. I've got to be honest with you. I've discussed it before. I'm quite stubborn. I think I'd probably, when David Moyes is giving his listing, if we assume that Benrahma's a Moyes player, let's assume that for the purposes of this conversation. So, Moisey, what's your list? Well, I want Tarkowski. Don't worry, we'll get him. I want Abire Eze. Don't worry, we'll get him. If you can't have Eze, who's your next in line? Oh, I'll tell you what about that Said Benrahma at Brentford? And Sullivan saying, no, can't have him. Well, why can't we have him? We can't have him. How much is he? 1.5 million? No, I believe he's 25 million. Sorry, mate, it ain't going to happen. You'd be too proud, you'd be too gutted to pay 25 million for somebody that you could have had for 1.5. But silly old West Ham, we're not on our own. I mean, far from it. There's far worse. If you're a Sheffield United fan, by the time I finish this video, you're going to be sick. Actually, Arsenal fans should probably be sick as well. Chelsea don't have a great record at this particularly either. And you can understand Chelsea's reticence to pay any money for Declan Rice at the moment because he was on their books. They had him. They let him go. Realistically, they should be having Declan Rice in their first team for nothing. But they can't. Imagine the thought of having to pay 70, 80 million, whatever he might be worth. No way. No way. They're not going to do it. But there's a little bit of give and take there, actually, in terms of West Ham, because I'm sure a lot of you will know this, but some weren't. John Terry was on West Ham's books. We let him go. He went over as a 14-year-old to Chelsea as a midfielder. Didn't have a bad career, really, did he? But there are an awful lot of them. I just remember recently that when we played, wasn't that recently, really? When we played Tottenham, and it was a 3-3 where Lanzini scored that goal, the subject of Gareth Bale was brought up. And the fact that Gareth Bale was rejected by David Moyes at Manchester United. And it's used as a stick to beat him with, he couldn't even spot that Gareth Bale was an excellent talent. Well, as we say, he was an excellent talent. But again, he's not on his own. So, I'm going to tell you now some players that clubs have missed out on, and they'll be rather gutted about it. Did you know, we're talking about Chelsea, I didn't know this, Kylian Mbappe had a trial at Chelsea. He had a trial at Chelsea. They decided against it. He went to Monaco. They couldn't persuade him. That it was a good place to develop. It's a bit like, do you remember when Tomori phoned, David Moyes spoke to Tomori on the phone? Can you guarantee me first team football? Nah, probably not. And I think a similar thing happened with Mbappe at Chelsea. They've all got the same phone, you see. Nokia 3210. Can you guarantee my client will have a route to first team football, a pathway to first team football? Nah, Probably not. He's not going to get past Giroud now, is he? Let's be fair. Not on his own. Here's one. Zinedine Zidane. Right? Zinedine Zidane to Blackburn Rovers. At the time, the owner was Jack Walker. They had a deal lined up to bring Zidane over from France to play in midfield. And don't forget, Blackburn Rovers had won the title. They had the SAS up front, didn't they? Shearer and Sutton. A midfielder called Tim Sherwood. Jack Walker's iconic comments. Why would we need Zinedine Zidane when we've got Tim Sherwood? And who could argue with that? Of course, former Hammer, our very own, I say our very own, don't sound right, does it? Former West Ham manager Sam Allardyce had a chance to sign Rivaldo for Bolton. Yeah? Arsene Wenger's like a serial culprit at this, by the way. So, here's one. Ronaldo. Not the fat one, the thin one, right? Thin Ronaldo was about to go to Arsenal and he'd actually had the number 9 shirt printed up. But Arsene Wenger decided against it because he thought 12.5 million was too much. Yes, Ronaldo, the record goal scorer ever in the world, if you don't count Pele's thousands, because I don't know, about 500 of them were sort of kicking the ball around with his kids in the back garden. But proper professional goals. I'm not demeaning Pele. Not at all. Not at all. A fine footballer. But top class professional goals in the top leagues, Ronaldo scored more than anybody else. 12.5 million. Bit rich for me. It wasn't the only time he was going to make a mistake. Another one was Ibrahimovic. Had Ibrahimovic on trial. And I think, again, they gave him the number 9 shirt. Print up a number 9 shirt for him. It didn't happen. I thought, hold on, crikey, this is a mistake. Another one, Yaya Toure. Of course, he won Player of the Year over in England for Manchester City. And his brother, Kolo. You know the old dance, didn't you? The song and the dance. I'm not going to do it. Yaya Toure. He actually played for Arsenal in a pre-season friendly at Barnet. Played quite well, apparently. Didn't give him the deal. But the really big one, right, and this is the finest footballer I've ever known in my life, right? The best footballer I've ever seen was Ruud Gullit. I can't think of anybody that's like Ruud Gullit now. Ruud Gullit was the best footballer in the world. Ruud Gullit could play at world-class level, at striker, on the wing, in midfield, at right back or central defence. I guess the closest I may have seen to him was possibly Steven Gerrard. If you remember Gerrard when they did the 3-3 in the Champions League final, I think during that game that he played as a right wing, or he played in central midfield and he played as a right back. Well, you could double that. You know, he could play in 6 or 7 positions, and he was world class. Of course, won the European Championship with Holland and won numerous. I was going to say Champions League. Of course, it was called the European Cup then. Of course, with AC Milan, they had the 3 Dutchmen of Rijkaard and Koeman as well. What a player he was. I think looking back, people talk about John Charles. Obviously, I know you think I'm old. I'm not that old. I never saw John Charles play. But apparently John Charles was a bit like that. Was just an absolute sublime footballer. Ruud Gullit was strong, fast, skillful. I think I've already said it. The best footballer there's ever been. In my opinion, in terms of doing everything. You'll find people that can dribble better. You'll find people that can do different things better. But someone can do everything, all the things. Heading, tackling, dribbling, running, passing, shooting. Gullit, I'm telling you now. 300,000 to Arsenal. No, thank you very much. That's too much. I'll tell you a weird one. A really weird one. Ronaldinho to... Hold on, before I do that drum roll. Ronaldinho was offered to Manchester United. They could have signed him from Paris Saint-Germain before Paris Saint-Germain were rich, right? They turned him down. You didn't get the reason. But believe it or not, Ronaldinho was a couple of hours. I shouldn't know. I'm sorry. If I was going to say I'm sorry if you're a St Mirren fan watching this. Why would you? If you're a St Mirren fan watching this, why? Why are you watching this? If you are, I do apologise for rubbing salt in wounds. I really do. But he was a couple of hours from signing for St Mirren, which is absolutely... I don't know, it's just crazy. I'll give you another one. Robert Lewandowski to Blackburn Rovers from a club called Lech Poznan. I know I've slaughtered the name. I am sorry. I think I've got the Poznan bit right. I've certainly got Lewandowski, right? Maybe it's Lewandowski. I don't know. Whatever. You know who I mean. 4 million to Bolton. To Blackburn Rovers. Too much. Gaza almost moved to Manchester United from Newcastle. So they're probably still the best young player that England have had. He was certainly a midfielder anyway. At Newcastle, everyone could tell he was going to be brilliant. He went to Spurs instead of Man U. Why? Because Tottenham bought Gaza's parents a house. That swung the deal. Can't blame Daniel Levy for that. I wonder if it was Venable. Oh, not Venable. I wonder if it's Alan Sugar. I wonder, mate. Look, I've done a lot of research here. I couldn't go into minute detail on everything. Luke Shaw was at Chelsea's Development Academy Centre at Guildford. Chelsea Development Academy Centre at Guildford. Very, very big sign on that building. I really like this next one. I said Ruud Gullit was the best player I've ever seen. Probably the player not at West Ham, who I used to look at in most awe, was Roy Keane. And I mean it only because football's a team game. I don't think often you get to watch football and see one player make a difference in terms of making everybody else play. And Roy Keane was exactly that guy. Look, yes, he could do. Could he pass? Could he run? Could he tackle? Was he a complete midfielder? Yes, he did. Got his fair share of goals. Wonderful, he did. But actually, to see him lift the team around him, to see him give players a rollicking, to see Roy Keane grab a player, his own teammate, by the scruff of the neck and frog march him into position, to demand 100% of every one of his teammates and get it. He was an absolute joy to behold. A fearsome character, and he sort of carried that on. A bit grumpy in the television studio, let's be fair. But it's part of his character. I think he's playing up a little bit. But I loved Roy Keane. Absolutely brilliant. Roy Keane had a trial at Brighton. See, I didn't have a trial. I had a trial booked. They cancelled it on the day. They'd found a midfielder. I don't get to find out. It didn't say. The article didn't say who that midfielder was. But Roy Keane, I mean, that's a big one to miss out. And he went and signed for Nottingham Forest for Brian Clough instead. Then from there, famously went on to Man United and was just completely dominant, wasn't he? Here's a good one. Marcus Rashford. It's littered with these Lancashire and all the Lancastrian stuff as well, by the way. You particularly see it as well at Everton and Liverpool. There's a big crossover. McManaman, Carragher, Fowler, all of this sort of thing. They all could have signed for either one or were at one or the other. But I think this is a really good one because it's recent, and that's Rashford could have signed for Manchester City. I mean, they were... Actually, I think they had the first option. So he was at a club called Fletcher Moss Rangers. And the story was told by the coach, who is still there, I believe, at Fletcher. Well, I say I still believe. It's not like it was 50 years ago, is it? Marcus Rashford's only a young spring chicken anyway. But yeah, Man City came calling, and it's still at a time when Man City had been a rich club, you know. But they turned him down because he was a bit small, a bit skinny. Yes, he is small and skinny, isn't he? Still, well, he's tall and skinny now, but I bet they'll regret that one. He would have... I wonder, actually, good question. Would he have even got into the team at Man City? I don't know. I'm sure they'll have regretted that. Anyway, Eden Hazard is another one. To who? I just said Eden Hazard. Doesn't matter. Eden Hazard to Manchester United, of course, which is a big one, a massive one for them to miss out on as well. Did I say Neymar to West Ham? Have I said that one? West Ham had a sniff of Neymar. I can't remember. I've listed so many players here. I can't remember if I've mentioned Neymar. I've got a little list there. Did I mention it? I don't think I did. Neymar to West Ham. When he was in Brazil, obviously. Yeah. Everybody's guilty of it. What I will finish with, I will love you and leave you. I haven't saved the best till last. I don't know what the best one is, actually. I mean, I think Hullit's a massive one. I like the Roy Keane one. So, Zinedine Zidane, who needs Zinedine Zidane when we've got Tim Sherwood in midfield, is a quote for the ages. I really do think. Oh no, I have got the best one for last. I haven't told you the best one. Okay, let me get this one out of the way. Manchester United, Alan Shearer. When Alan Shearer went to leave Southampton, Man United thought 3.6 million was a bit much. The record ever goal scorer in the Premier League. Of course, he went to Blackburn Rovers, won the league there. Here's the big one. I'm sorry, I almost missed it out. Here's the best till last. Sheffield United fans, the Blades. Sheffield United had a manager whose name absolutely escapes me. No, it really has. I think I could spend too long. Oh no, I've got it here. Harry Haslam, all right? Sheffield United manager, Harry Haslam. Wanted a bit of flair for the team. Went over to watch some games in Argentina. And he saw a young player called Diego Maradona. Now, obviously, I'm taking it you know your football history. You know how this ends because you can't quite recall in your mind Diego Maradona playing with the two, the red and white stripes and the two, what are they, cutlasses? Or is it a knife and a fork or something? Well, they got a couple of things going on their badge. You don't ever remember Diego Maradona playing for Sheffield United, of course. And that's because he never did. No, they thought £200,000 was too much. I mean, to be fair, this is 1978 and £200,000 was a lot of money in 1970. I'm talking like £200,000. Of course, I've got £200,000 in my wallet. But in 1978, it was an awful lot of money. No. What they did, and here's what I found really, really bizarre about that one is they thought 200,000 was too much, so instead they spent 160,000 on another Argentinian who was apparently a very silky player. I think he went on to manage us. He might be manager now. Alex Sabella. They signed him instead. As Homer Simpson would say. There you go. It just goes to show. So West Ham missing out on Said Benrahma for 1.5 million. Don't worry about it, West Ham. It could have been far, far worse. But listen, please do tune in to Gio tonight and hear that amazing, amazing interview with Gio and a West Ham scout.